Russ. Yeah, I'm back out on the road again. This time we're testing out the Jaguarundi. This is the folding bike from Magicycle. Long awaited, but it's here. Now if you didn't see the first look video that I did of the video, I'll put a link there so you can actually see it. Kind of goes over the features of the bike, how to fold it and all that type of thing. So watch that video first, come back and watch this one. So today, we're going to try to do a test to see how well the bike actually rides. I made some modifications since that video came out. I put a 3D printed thumb throttle attachment to the half twist throttle, as I usually do. I also changed out the bell. It comes with an inexpensive bell. I changed it out to my favorite bells. These are a little bit more low profile. Let's go up here. I also added a Magicycle mirror. When you order these mirrors, they come with left and right mirrors. They give you two. I only put the left one on can't talk. I only put the left one on today. There's a lot of stuff going on over here, so there's not a lot of space. So I decided just to do the left-hand mirror. And I also put on the front basket. Let me see if I can angle down a little bit here. Can you guys see that? There's the front basket on there now. That came in. So I decided, let's put it on. Now I have requested a rear rack, but the rear racks aren't available yet. So as soon as they're available, they'll be sending me one, and I'll put a rear rack on this bike as well. Of course, I have a bottle cage down there too, so I can carry some water. Now today is kind of cold. It's 64 degrees right now, and it's around 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. I waited a little bit to do this because I was hoping it would warm up, but the whole day is going to be rather cold. I do have my long sleeves on, but still can feel it. I have long pants on today too. I think we're getting to that point where the cooler weather is now starting to come on. I debated about putting on a sweatshirt, but I decided to brave it out and not do that. So now, as you might know from the first look video, there is a cruise control on here. I hear an ambulance or a police car. All you need to do, it's an ambulance. All you need to do is hold that throttle down for 8 seconds at whatever desired speed you want to go to, and the bike will take over from there. Now to cancel cruise control, just like in a car, just tap on your brakes. Tap on your brakes and that will cancel out the cruise control. So I'm going to bring this to the hill test that we usually do. See how well it does. Now I have ridden this bike for a little bit of time already. I actually did the same exact test yesterday, but unfortunately, after doing the first look test, I forgot to move the normal angle view to the super wide view, which we usually put on our riding test. And so everything seemed a little narrow looking to me. So I said, well, and I did about an hour worth of video. I says, that can't be, we have to redo this. So I'm out once again with the bike. So we're going to do the whole test all over again. Now over here it was rather muddy the other day. Let's see how muddy it is today. It seems to have dried out most of it. Okay. That area there always seems to have some mudslide going on or something whenever it rains. And it rained for a couple of days here as well. So yeah, it was kind of a muddy mess. So I'll tell you this, since I've already done this test, I just can't use the footage anymore since I need to redo it. The bike did very well. Yeah, very respectable going up that hill. The way we do the hill test, just to let you know, as we get closer to it, what I do is I will throttle up the entire time going up that hill, and we won't be pedaling. We want to see what the bike can do when it's only under the motor's effort by itself without helping it with pedaling. And I'll tell you, the top bike so far that has gotten the highest numbers, I believe, has been the Magicycle Cruiser at over 14 something miles per hour going over that hill after the throttling. And I don't think any other bike has actually hit it yet, so it's still the king of the hill. That one has, I believe, 85 or 86 Newton meters of torque, of which this one claims to have similar type of torque. Now, the torque here, of course, is a little bit different because it is smaller wheels. It's a 20-inch by 4-inch fat tires on here. So we're going to see how it does getting over that hill. I'll tell you before we even get there and give you a sneak preview. It did really well. It did not match the Cruiser, but it did pretty well. We'll see. We'll see it when we do it. So as far as pedaling is concerned, I have my saddle adjusted nice and high because I always like to have full extension of my legs when I'm pedaling on my bikes. And that works out just fine. You know, if you're a tall rider as well, I'm 5'10". If you have to raise it up, you can do that. And this handlebar does raise up higher. I don't have it that high. We have the keys, they're bouncing here. I have it at the lowest setting, but you could raise it if you like. Now you might wonder why I keep all the keys on here all the time. Well, that's because I don't really leave my bikes anywhere. I'm gonna move this up a little bit so the key doesn't bounce and hit the thing there. I don't leave my bike anywhere. I'm always with the bike, and with all the various review bikes that I have now, separating the keys would make it very difficult for me to figure out which key goes to which bike, so I just leave it there. You should not do that, of course. You should take your keys off. Currently running on cruise control. That's why I was able to do what I was doing. Didn't have to pedal and think about it. Cruise control took over for me. I didn't even have to use my hands to hold the throttle down. All right. No cars. That's good. So many of you are familiar with this path that we take. I did take the path all the way to the 3-mile circular path that we usually go to, but I had to come back around to do it because they are resurfacing the street that we usually have to cross. So I gave up and came back around. I don't know how it is today, but I don't think I'm gonna give it a try. I think what we'll do is we'll do the hill test, come back around, and then we'll just ride around in a different direction. Morning. So yeah, overall the bike feels good. I would say that the pedaling on this bike is kind of similar to the other Magicycle bike in the sense that if I use the pedal assist to level 3, it picks up really quickly. You can adjust this pedal assist levels, and you can adjust the quantity of assist. There's 5 levels, well, 0 through 5, but just like the other the bikes, they're kind of aggressive in the sense that pedal assist level 3 kind of jolts you real quickly too, so you have to kind of be a little careful. I took a look at the instruction manual to see how I might be able to change it, but I'll tell you that it's a little confusing. The instruction manual is actually pretty good, but I think it's kind of a generic instruction manual. I've seen something similar to that before on another bike, so I don't know if they're getting the instruction manual written from the same source or something, but the various codes that are in here, you have to kind of figure out what codes are what. And I think that's confusing. I think the original display screen that's on the Magicycle Cruiser is a lot more intuitive. All right, we're coming close to the bridge. I'm going to throttle up fully at the bridge. If there's someone there, we will have to pull out of the test. But if there's nobody there, we'll keep it going. And it looks like they're doing construction. We cannot do this test today. Tree work ahead. All right. We cannot finish this test today. All right. So what we'll do is we'll do the hill test another day. I'm just going to turn around because there's no sense going forward. We can't get through. We'll see how well it does going over the hill. So we're doing 22.9. We're just throttling only 21, 20, 18.4, 16.9, 15.4, 13.4, 12.8, 12.8. Actually quite respectable. All right, let's slow down a bit here. 12.8, that's actually quite respectable. If you've watched any of the other reviews that I've done, you kind of know what the other bikes have done. That puts this Jaguarundi way up there. All right, so here's what we're gonna do today. Since I'm already out on the bike, let's do a range test today. We'll come back and revisit the hill test another day. Let me say this though, I'm sure you're waiting to hear what my my answer is for the review. How well is the review doing? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to pass these ladies one more time. Sorry, they had tree things going on. So anyway, just let them know why I'm coming back at them. Yeah, here's my review. Since I've already ridden this and tested it yesterday, I just couldn't use the footage. I'll give you a hint without even doing the hill test. We'll do the hill test to prove it to you. I think we got something like 12.4 miles per hour over that hill. And that's actually pretty good for a folding bike. The Magicycle Cruiser was at 14 something, so it's only about 2 miles per hour slower. But yeah, it's not bad. This is a 600 watt motor that peaks at 750, whereas the Cruiser is a 750 watt motor that peaks well over 1,000 watts. Nobody really knows exactly what it peaks at, but you can see it hits the 900 and it just kind of pegs it there and doesn't tell you what the additional wattage really is because the meter doesn't go any higher than that. So for this to be able to do 12.4 or so miles per hour with a 600 watt motor that peaks at 750, it's actually pretty good. Yeah, we'll prove it on another video. I think we're at the time of the year where a lot of things are being fixed up now, so they're doing tree tree cuttings and all sorts of stuff. Thank you. Sorry, I'm messing with my sunglasses here. Had a bug crawling on the lens of the sunglasses. Alright, we'll fix it at the stop sign here. Let's just stop here. Put the sunglasses back on. Alright, here's another reason why I waited, besides being a little warmer as you wait during the day. The angle of the sun is a little higher up, makes the video look a little bit nicer. Some of the videos that I've done where I had to go early in the morning, the angle of the sun competes with the lens. You get lens flare and all sorts of things, so it doesn't look quite as nice. So I waited a little bit, double purpose. Good morning. So I think going back to the pedal level assists, it's a little more difficult to program. I'm gonna have to learn how to do it. I would like to program it so I have at least 7 levels of assist, maybe even 9. I moved my cruiser to a 9 level so that I have a whole bunch of little in-between levels, because sometimes, you know, when you go from 2 and then you hit 3, it just jerks so fast because it's giving you so much more power than you prefer. So if you had something in between, it would be better. Well, those things are kind of bumpy now. So I would like to move the 5 to at least a 7, maybe even a 9, and then set some in-between levels. Got to learn how to do that. Now, one thing I did notice too, because if you take a look at the display screen here, it is similar to the display screen that we see on the Magicycle commuter bike. And I mentioned that the commuter bike was giving me power of 5 bars out of 5 as far as battery strength for a long time, and then it started to drop like crazy. It would drop down to 1 bar like every mile until it was totally gone, you know. So I can't really trust the battery meter on that particular bike. But on this one, it didn't seem to do that. It seemed to have a 5 bar thing that was moving relatively well. I rode 21 or 22 miles yesterday, and it dropped down 2 bars out of the meter. So I don't know if that's going to stay that way or it's not, but we'll see after this range test. We'll see if the meter on here, if the battery meter is actually more accurate in that sense, or whether it's going to do the same thing as the last one. Now, the battery that we have on the bike is a 52 volt, 15 amp hour battery. So I halfway expect that we'll get some decent mileage out of it. And I'm going to do the same thing I did when I checked out the other folding bike. I just put it on cruise control and just let it go. That is the most consistent usage of the power. So there's also a wattage meter on here. Let me see. So I was at like 167 watts of power there. So it's not using that much power, and it was doing about 16 miles per hour. Now as I'm going up this hill, it's pretty easy. I'm throttling and pedaling as I usually do. Now somebody said to me that maybe a better way to check out the battery range would not be to be consistently the same, but actually to just ride it the way you normally ride it. Now, I thought about that and I says, yeah, he has a point, but you have to also realize too, I'm a pretty heavy rider. I'm 255 pounds, 5'10", 63 years old, just for those who want to know. And so you might not be 255 pounds, you might be less than that. And so what I get may not be what you get anyway. So I figured the best thing to do is just to compromise and just keep a certain speed and just let it run. Now I know that even for myself, I've done that for other bikes where I've gotten the maximum range that 15 miles per hour would get me on a cruise control. And then when I actually started using the bike the way I would normally use the bike, the range would drop, because then you're going up and down and speeding up and slowing down and all sorts of stuff, and so that puts more of a strain on the battery, and so your range will drop from that point. So all of these range test things are basically telling us is what we can roughly expect if we had ideal condition of, a certain speed consistently. I chose around 15 miles per hour to be the consistent speed to be at. And then at least it gives us a baseline to compare against other bikes that I've done similar things to. Now this is not where we're going to go. I think what we have to do this range test is we have to go to the 3-mile path, go around in circles. There's just too much turns here. I have to hit the brake constantly in order to make the turns and stuff, whereas the other path is a little bit more easier. I can just let it run. The only issue, of course, is there's more people usually there, and so when that's the case, then we do have to hit the brakes. But I'm going to try to keep it close to about 15 miles per hour anyway. All right. Let's wait our turn here. I could go on the sidewalk, but there's a stroller on the sidewalk. We're only going down less than a block before we have to turn again. All right. Now I did change out the saddle. I'm testing out a different saddle right now from another company. I wanted to see how that saddle felt like, how it does. I will tell you that the saddle that I'm sitting on is pretty comfy. Yeah. An interesting thing about the saddle too, it has a little blinking light on the back of the saddle. I like my blinking lights. I have my Exonito helmet on. It's blinking in the back. I've got the blinky light on the saddle. The front of the helmet has a light. It's just for visibility. It doesn't light up your entire pathway or something. It's just so people know that you're there. All right. But the pedaling is pretty good on here. I don't find any problems with it at all. Let's go to pedal assist level 4. You can feel it immediately kick in once you kick it. Let's go to 5. Yeah, it just kicks up. Now, maximum speed. I found that the maximum speed I was able to do on this bike was about 23.5 miles per hour, something like that. Now, I don't know whether you can adjust that to a higher speed or not. I looked in the manual. I did not see anything that said that you could change that top speed. So I'm going to say the top speed is probably around 23.5 miles per hour. That's plenty, I think, for a folding bike. So right now I'm throttling and I'm hitting the maximum speed. 23. I think it hit around 23.6, something like that. going up a hill right now, so obviously it's a little bit lower. Now this is cutting into our range too as I'm doing this type of testing, but hey, can't be ideal for everything, right? You do get a certain amount of ghost pedaling once you get past a certain miles per hour, but that seems to be very typical of many bikes now. I think in time, manufacturers should probably start thinking about maybe, let's turn here, about maybe changing their chain rings so that the ghost pedaling will be minimized. Alright, so I'm taking the street route to get to the 3 mile path. And again, I'm hitting pretty hard on the throttle. I already see that I've already dropped 1 bar on the battery already, and that's because we're stressing it out a little bit. So this is cruise control going up the Yeah, well, we did pretty good cruise control going all the way up. Usually when I'm on the street with cars, I try to go a little bit faster to kind of compete with them. I don't want to be too slow because they all get upset when you're too slow. Then we're going to have to cross the street in 2 places, so I think I'm just going to take the sidewalk here now and cross at the sidewalk crossing. Alright. I've always said that this particular intersection doesn't have enough space to round that turn without slamming into their curbs. I don't know why they designed it that way. This whole intersection thing was redone. They redid all the curbs, but I think it's too close, to tell you the truth. We'll wait our turn. And as I've mentioned in the past, the key is to keep an eye on the left turners and the right turners so they don't end up turning into you. It's rather windy today. It's cold and windy. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep us around the 15 mile per hour range. I'll try my best to cruise control it to keep it consistent. Like I said, we're down 1 bar already. And that's from all the things we were doing previously. Now, cruise control only happens when you hold it for about 8 seconds or so. I don't know that is exactly the time, but I was doing my best count. And it was about 8 seconds. So let's see if we can set it. So I'm just kind of holding it steady as best I can. Did it grab? It grabbed. We're going up a hill a little bit though right now. Alright, it seems like we're hanging around the 14 mile per hour range. It's okay. We'll just let it go. Now, realistically, is that what I'm going to ride at? And the answer is no. I usually ride a little bit faster than that, but the speed limit on this particular path is 15 miles per hour. Since I'm going to be going around for a while, I don't want to be going way too fast and just circle around it at 18 miles per hour. I don't want to grab that kind of attention. All right, let's pass this gentleman here. And let's see if we can try to keep ourselves around the 15 mile per hour range. 15, 16, give or take a mile. All right, so now I've let go. Where are we at? 16 miles per hour, roughly. All right, we'll just let it run. Now, as we do on other tests, I'm not going to keep you the entire time. That would be just way too much. All right, I ended up moving the pedal, and I think the minute you move the pedal, you lose your cruise control. So you have to kind of keep in that same position when you're doing cruise control. So no pedaling, essentially. No pedaling, no braking, otherwise you will stop your cruise control. Anyway, I'll come back and report back every now and then, let you know how things are going. We'll just kind of let this run, see what our total range will be. All right, talk to you guys in a bit. All right, time for an update. I've done about 14.6 miles so far, and yeah, it was too cold. I didn't think I'd be saying that already, but yeah, it was too cold. I had to go back and get a sweatshirt. So I'm back out on the street. You know, I decided I was going to do this mostly at a cruise control thing at about 15 miles per hour, but since so many things went wrong today already, I tried to go on the hill, couldn't do the hill. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you that hill test. Well, by the time this thing's edited in, you may have already watched it, but I'm going to put the hill test that I did, even though the video camera was on a standard wide angle, not on a super wide angle, because all we need to really see is how well did it do on the hill. So I'm going to put that on there because I still have that footage. And the rest of this video, of course, will be as we normally do on the super wide. Here's one thing that I did notice. This is aside from the review of this bike. I noticed that looking at the standard wide footage versus the super wide, it really looks like I'm going slower when it's on the standard wide versus the super wide. The super wide seems to make it look like I'm going really fast, and I know that many people have said you go way too fast. It kind of looks fast, but on the standard wide, it didn't look that fast. A lot of this stuff is camera causing issues. So anyway, I just want to make that comment. So I'm back out on the streets again, just kind of going up and down neighborhoods, trying to find out what our expected mileage will be on this bike. Now I noticed we just dropped the bar. We're down to 3 out of the 5 bars on the battery meter. We're at 15.2 miles. Now keep in mind, I have been using pedal assist level 3. I have been cruising on the cruise control. So we may see a lower number because it's not done the way we typically would do it. And you know, I've been speeding up when I need to speed up, like I got a UPS car behind me, a truck. I want to get out of his way. So I sped up a little bit. He's giving me a lot of space. So we're kind of riding this one closer to the way I normally would typically ride. Let's do that. Let's just see how it comes out. It may not be the same amount of numbers that we see on the other ones, but this is closer to how I would typically ride it. I mean, this information is important for me. I don't know how important it will be for you, but it is important for me. I need to know how much mileage can I trust out of this battery based on my weight, based on my riding style. Now the bike also has a lot of information on the meter, the meter, on the on the display screen. If you just kind of hit this through here, it'll tell you what your power levels are for wattage. Let's stop here. We've got school bus in front of us. So good time to look at this. So total mileage on this bike so far, 41.3. It'll tell you what your maximum speed was. I hit 23.1 miles per hour. I averaged at 14 miles per hour. So this is since the last reset. So the trip meter shows 15.5 miles. Yeah, make sure you stop for buses, school buses. All right. The ladies waved, thank you. Yeah, I'm in no real rush. What do I got to do? So yeah, it seems 23 miles per hour seems to be our top speed on this bike. It does have some pep, that's for sure. And like I said, in typical Magicycle fashion, it's got a lot of pep. Sometimes it's so much you want to turn it down a little bit. Yeah, be careful when you first take these bikes out. Start out on pedal assist level 1 and 2. The minute you hit 3, you're going to find yourself really going. You know, if you hit 4, you can immediately feel a pump. Hit 5, you immediately hit another bump of speed. Yeah, I'd like to see some in-between numbers there. I think I'm going to have to figure out that menu to try to get something in the middle. I find that with many of these folding style bikes and smaller wheel bikes, I'm able to maneuver quicker. I can move back and forth like this, you know. I can't do that with a fat tire bike. I'd probably fall off of it if I did that. And I tend to be able to go to slower speeds that I couldn't do with the bigger bikes. I do tend to ride this bike like I do on all the other bikes, using the throttle to kind of help me through, so I don't have to mess with the gears as often. Because typically from something like this, from a slow down stomp, you would use your gears. You'd lower your gears so that you can move up while you're pedaling, go up and down. But I find that a lot of times I don't use my gears as much. I tend to use my throttle, and that will eat up your battery more. So this is why a lot of times on these range tests, I might not get as much range as somebody else. First off, I'm heavy. Then I use my throttle. So yeah, if you want the most range, your best bet is to pedal. Keep it in pedal assist level 1 or 2 and pedal, and you're going to get your best range at that point. You see now here, starting up again, lowering your gear. Then as you're moving faster, move up a gear. And if you're moving a little bit faster, move up another gear. So it's a back and forth thing, right? But if you're lazy like me, you use your throttle to move yourself up to what might be the equivalent of gear 6 or 7, and then start pedaling from that point. But it does eat a lot of battery power to do that. I find with this bike, I tend to try to ride closer to 15, 16 miles per hour. Pedal assist level 3 would get that for me. Okay, car's letting me go. That's the same car that passed me on the other one. So she must have turned around and then came back, run into her again. So here's what I found out about cruise control. Okay, I mentioned if you hold your throttle down for at least 8 seconds and then let go, cruise control happens. Now, if you tap the brake, it lets go of cruise control. If you pedal forward, it lets go of the cruise control. But if you pedal backwards, okay, it does not let go of the cruise control. So what that means is if you're positioned your legs one way, so you're cruise controlling, and then you're getting tired, don't move your leg forward, move it backwards to reposition, and that will keep the cruise control going. Like backpedaling, you know. All right, let's move the gears down. Move the gear up. That's the proper way to do it. That will save your battery. It's a lot more work. I think after you've ridden bikes for a while and you find ways to cheat around the system, you tend to do that at the expense of your range and your battery. So I took a look at the weather again to find out what the weather is, and it showed us 61 degrees, which means it was in the upper 50s. I thought we were in the 60s when we started out. It was in the mid to upper 50s at the time. That's why I was so cold. I was like, why is it so cold out here? I had my long sleeves on, but wasn't enough. Those are pretty thin shirts. So yeah, I needed some type of sweatshirt. So I'm gonna keep going. I'll report back, let you guys know where we are. Probably report back just as we finish up our range test here. Right now I'm at 17 miles. It's got 3 out of the 5 bars. And like I said, I've been doing everything from cruising on the cruise control to doing pedal assist level 3 and then throttling hard. Doing all sorts of stuff on it. So I'll get back to you guys soon. Okay, time for a final update. My battery meter has finally hit the last bar. So if you take a look, angle here, you'll see that I'm at 24.7 miles. I just hit the last bar. So I'm gonna ride this thing until this thing finally dies out. If I had to guess it, we're gonna break the 25-mile mark. Obviously at 24.7, we'll hit 25 for sure. And then maybe we might get another mile out of that. But I wanted to at least make this recording before everything dies. Oh, it just moved up to 2 bars again. So it seems to be teeter-tottering between 2 bars and 1 bar right now. It's okay. That only means that we probably will get 26 miles at least, I would tend to think. So let me give you my final conclusions before the thing finally dies out on me. The distance we're getting is respectable. I recall my very first e-bike, which was a big cruiser style bike from Power Bikes. I was only getting about 26 miles out of that, something like that. You're talking a bike that's a lot heavier than this bike. It was loaded down with lots of stuff because I carried everything on it. The only thing I have on this bike right now is the water bottle and me. So considering it's a lighter weight, it's doing pretty much the same as what the Rad Power Bikes battery had done for me in the past. Now, I know I would have gotten more mileage out of this if I was just going to do it the way I originally planned to do it, which would have been 15 miles per hour cruise control around the 3-mile path and just go over and over and over until it was finally finished with. But yeah, that wasn't going to work out for us based on how cold it was getting. And then I ended up on the streets and everything, and so yeah, we ended up doing pedal assist level 3 out of this instead of level 2 as I had anticipated. So considering it had a higher pedal assist, considering I was throttling quite a bit, going up and down, cruise controlled and everything, I would say if we get 26 miles out of this, which I think we probably will at this point, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I'm happy with the results. I had requested a second battery from Magicycle because they know that I take these bikes to quite a distance when I do my daily rides. And yeah, so we'll be featuring this bike and others, of course, throughout my time as long as I can continue riding. So yeah, if I can get 26 miles out of it with decent usage of pedal assist level 3, I can count on, what is that, 26, I can count on 52 miles out of the 2 batteries. I think that's fine. Now, it won't be enough to get me to the Botanic Gardens, but I wouldn't take a bike like this to the Botanic Garden anyway. I would want my bigger bikes to do that kind of trip. But this, between 2 batteries, this is going to cover me well for anything else I do around this general area. All right, let's call it a day. We're going to call it 26 miles. Running it down to the absolute bottom is not good for the battery anyway. So let's call it 26 miles using decent pedal assist, decent amount of throttling and the like. Overall, my conclusion is the bike does very well. I think anyone who's looking for a folding bike would do well with this one. It's got a lot of bells and whistles as far as like cruise control, and you have options to put front baskets on there. Rear racks are coming for the bike. I think they're still manufacturing them at this point. And it's a wide opening, so you can step through it very easily. If you're a tall rider, you can ride this bike because it has extensions in the handlebar area, plus extensions in the seat post. Folds very simply. So yeah, front suspension, hydraulic brakes. It's got everything on it that you might want for a folding bike or any other kind of bike for that matter. Anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys next time. Yeah, we're gonna hit 26 right now. So yeah, it's probably gonna go more than that. If it does more, I'll put a graphic up, let you know. Talk to you guys next time. Okay. I had already signed off, but I signed back on here. I wanted to show you guys something here. This is still on the 1 bar out of 5 bar setting. Let me show you this. 28.6 miles. We're gonna break 29 miles.